I've just been carving wood. Yo, Radicola, what are you doing? Bitch, I'm carving. I got wood to carve, bitch. I'm carving on my wood. I got 2 woods to carve. Bitch, I'm busy. Okay. Hey. Hold on. Oh, shit.
I don't want any judgment from anyone, but instead of a Christmas tree this year, my family have decided to have a Christmas Dalek instead. So we've got our presents currently sitting under a Dalek. If anyone else can relate to this kind of existence, then please get in touch. I'd really appreciate it.
Fun fact, there are more than 7 billion ways to live a valuable life. You're doing fine. You're good.
The Wobblo, a ball bearing inside a hollow torus.
A question I get a lot is, why do they sound so noisy? Well, yeah, they are different than Baroque recorders, but that's why composers love them. We can do all of this really percussive articulation. The key clicks can be written into a piece. Mine is held together with duct tape, and we can even make all these cool harmonics.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Frankie's Cultural Observations. Today, we're going to be discovering why 60% of the college population have the skin fade and North Face jacket combo. As you can see here, the skin fade and the North Face jacket combo is the uniform of lads who take pride in their appearance, but still lack the self-confidence to stand out from the crowd, so they end up just getting the same haircut as everyone else due to their intrinsic fear of rejection. The skin fade and the North Face jacket combo is the human embodiment of the culture industry, the deliberate manufacture of sameness. Armies of standardized haircuts attached to basic personalities. Basic personalities that'll definitely cheat on you if you give them half a chance. In this era, individuality is the new god, but ironically, we kneel at the altar of the skin fade and the North Face combo. God is dead, and symmetry is even better, and the skin fade with the North Face jacket combo lads are as straight as they get. An important note, the lads who wear the skin fade and North Face jacket combo aren't actually the same as the North Face weed dealers. They're qualitatively different. The North Face weed dealers wear more of a trench coat, whereas the lads in the North Face jacket and the skin fade combo, they have more of a kind of a puffy jacket with no hood. And they also don't smoke weed because it makes them anxious. Lads who wear the skin fade and North Face jacket combo use it as a tool to renounce their middle class identity by looking like they might punch you if you say they look different than they do on their Tinder profile.
Thanks. Anyway, look at this. Punkwood. Punkwood here comes from incredibly rotten trees that are all but done. You know it's good when you can just crumble it up in your hands like that. This stuff will hold a spark for a long time, and you can blow it into something a lot more combustible and start a fire with it. It's kind of handy. It's also fun to beat up like that. Next up we got fatwood, which comes from similarly dead trees where the sap has collected in the end of the branch right there. Really sap-dense wood. You're going to want to saw the piece off as far back as you can, and you'll know it's probably good when it takes a long time to saw. That's a pretty good piece. You can smell the sap right on it. See that darker color? That's the stuff you're looking for. Fat wood can be ground down to shavings and catch a spark really easily, but it's also very sap-dense wood that burns for a very long time if you're looking for something to keep you warm. Next up we have birch bark here. Birch bark here is the naturally oily bark off a birch tree. Don't peel it off while it's alive, you'll kill the tree, but dead ones, they're real easy to harvest. Break them down, shave them down. They catch a spark real easy, but also just a lighter. They burn really well. It's a really good starter for fire. Balsam, once it's dead, great firewood, especially the branches. It's a great starter after your birch bark. The birch tree doesn't just have birch bark either. If you find a dead one like this, you'll find a certain fungus growing along it. I often find 3 different types. A little scaly one like this, these ones that kind of look like a horseshoe, and ones up there that are much bigger, and they're birch polypore. What you want is this one, shaped like a horseshoe. It's commonly called horseshoe fungus. It's also known as tinder fungus because a little chunk like this will smolder forever. In fact, I'm pretty sure native groups used to use these things to transport fires because with a whole mushroom, you could probably get it to last like 2 or 3 hours. You do probably want to let them dry out though once you pick them. Then they're a lot more effective. Another great use for birch bark is to make yourself a little plate from which you can start your fire. I just sent my axe a little ways into the fat wood here, and you can get rid of most of the excess, and you've got yourself some nice pieces of fat wood you can use. Now what I like to do is just take my saw and run it a ways into the fat wood and just create a bunch of sawdust like that. Then I like to use the notch that creates to just carve off some shavings like that. From here you just got to get it to catch a spark, which is easier said than done. And just add some of the shavings. And from here it'll burn on its own. You can add whatever you want. Fat wood's a nice starter. Plus, if you have a plate, you can transport it to your fire pit like that. Then I just add some birch bark and some sticks. You can do the same thing with birch bark, but it's not always as dry. That's why fat wood's a favorite of mine in the winter. You can use your excess fat wood, split it and throw it on the fire, and it'll burn for a long time. It's also known by a dozen different other names I'm sure people will list in the comments. Anyway, that's my house. I live there, so it's cozy inside.
This is me giving out about the price of things I saw in the shop. I was absolutely outraged in there. I had to do about 20 minutes of breathing exercises and a deep gratitude session when I got home. I was that worked up over it. So to start off here, what in the chip section of the shop could possibly be $5.99? Have they come out with a new streaming service? Maybe they've started to freeze Michelin star meals. No, it's fucking chips. McCain's are cutting up potatoes, freezing them in a bag, and they want €6 for them. I know you can get cheaper options for chips, but they're all gone fucking dear. I just want to know how the fuck they're justifying on their fucking costing sheet charging €6 for frozen fucking potatoes, and there's about 3 of them within the pack. Will you calm down, like? And of course, we have fish fingers. The scholars' dinner. $7.50 for fish fingers. Does anybody who eats fish fingers have access to $7.50? What are you supposed to feed the kids now? Oh, here's your onion. We couldn't afford to heat it up, so I've just sat on it for a while. And look, I know there's cheaper options, but they're getting fucking dearer as well. I used to go in on Mother's Day and get a fucking cake that a human being baked, right, for fucking $7.50. And now that's how much you have to pay if you want fucking decent fish fingers. $5.19 for mini rolls. And not even the good ones. How's the $5 not enough? Oh no, we're going to have to throw an extra 19 cents on them. We just can't make ends meet charging a $5 for 3 fucking bits of chocolate and bread. Now you can get a $3.50 on the club car price, but there's places that you have to pay this price for them. That's absolutely daft. Will you come on? You can't have a bowl of soup or a little treating for yourself or a fish finger.
This is the Topsy-Turvy Top. It was invented by Lee Krasno at Pacific Puzzle Works. And inside the top, there's another top, a cute little baby. Aww.
This might look like an ordinary Russian nesting doll to you, but you'd be wrong. For those that are new here, my name's Mark and I mainly specialize in Baroque music and musical instruments, but I've been keeping a little secret from you guys. This little doll is actually called a Matryonim, aka the Theremin Matryoshka. So she's got an on button, volume knob, and is fully just a theremin. So the theremin is actually really hard to play, especially this one because it doesn't have a volume knob that you can like adjust while playing, so you have to be very precise with your hand movements, but I just don't have time to really learn it, so I'm just gonna give you a little pizzazz. Anyway, I'm gonna leave you guys with a gorgeous video of the largest Matryonim ensemble ever to be assembled.
If you have the flu, cold, or the vid like we do in our household, make this ginger slurry tea. I made this while sick, so heads up, I get extra klutzy. This is great to drink as soon as you feel a tickle in your nose or throat. Put 1 large bulb of ginger peeled and chopped and the juice of 4 to 5 lemons in a food processor. I love how simple this is because, as you can see, I do not have the capacity to do a complicated recipe. Puree until you get a thick slurry. Put 2 tablespoons of ginger slurry in a mug, add boiling water, a dash or 2 of cayenne pepper, and 1 to 2 teaspoons local honey. Put the remaining ginger slurry in a jar, and I chose a jar that's too small. This ginger slurry will last up to a week in the fridge. Make sure you get the good stuff from the lid as well. I was curious to taste it by itself, so here we go. Very gingery, pungent, and lemony. According to Andrea Beeman, ginger's spicy, pungent flavor helps clear congestion, thin mucus, and bring warmth to the digestive system. This tea was designed to make you sweat, so sip and sweat, people. Sip and sweat.
I know these sea anemones look pretty uncomfortable, so if they can move, why aren't they? Most anemone species can slowly move by inching along using their foot, which is the part of their body that's attached to substrate. But did you know there are some species that can swim? There are only a few that can do this, and it's only in the presence of predators, in this case, the leather star. In the presence of this particular sea star, the anemone detaches its foot and undulates its body to swim away. Once it feels safe, they will settle and reattach. It's pretty amazing to see them swim like this. Now, the anemones in this video are not the kind that can swim. They could slowly inch along if they were really stressed, but these species are supposed to look like this. These anemones are intertidal and have adapted to live out of water for several hours a day while the tide is low. As long as they stay moist, they are completely fine. However, because they are soft-bodied animals, they don't have any bones or structure, and gravity really takes a toll on them.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Frankie's Cultural Observations. Today, we're going to be offering an in-depth analysis on stoners. Stoners suffer from short-term memory loss. They keep listening to gangster rap and forgetting that they're white. Stoners have a look on their face like they're about to talk about Buddhism, but they never do. That's just the face they make when they're trying to remember where they left their skateboard. Stoner girls are a predictable breed. They exclusively hang around with other guys because they think girls are too much drama. But the truth is, other girls frighten them because they see right through their eat, pray, love, I want to go bagpacking personality type. Stoner girls, by default, have a weed-related quote in their Instagram bio. Usually something like, inhale the good shit, exhale the bullshit. And it turns out the bullshit they speak of is usually their lack of a father figure. Stoners have an inherent inability to accept that you don't like weed. They think you just haven't found the right strain or you haven't smoked enough. Here, does this like look mad to you, man? What are you seeing now? Stoners exist in a dreamlike state of thinking they're creative, even though the only thing they created in the last 10 years was their parents' disappointment. Contrary to popular belief, stoners are actually highly driven and determined, but only when they've run out of weed. They reactivate their Facebook Messenger account that they deleted because they thought Mark Zuckerberg was downloading their thoughts, and they'll contact every single person they know until their mission is complete, because they're addicted. To be a stoner, one must participate in the accumulation of stoner media, such as raws, weird-looking glass tubes, and using phrases such as correlation is not causation, even though you have no idea what it means.
Well, you can't tell, but under that cocoon is a 30-ton cat excavator. Zero tail. There's a track, there's a counterweight. That would be the exhaust pipe. So I wonder if that motor's not full of water too. There's a track. You can identify the boom there. But that's nice. My boss is gonna love this. This is his machine.
Hey, you know, you can just do stuff. Like, you don't need anybody's permission or anything. You just kind of come up with weird stuff you want to go do. You can just go do it. Okay. Go be weird. Okay, bye.
Story time. So about 33 years ago, before I was born, when my older brother was coming up on his first Christmas, my mom went to my dad and she said, "Hey, can we get a Christmas tree for the baby's first Christmas?" And my dad said, "Well, I don't know. I am Jewish and we never had one when I was growing up and I don't know if I feel comfortable." So my mom said, "Well, can I hang ornaments on something else?" And years later, my dad would say, "Knowing your mother, I should have said no." But at the time, he said, "Sure." So my mom, who is very crafty, took one of those balsa wood miniature dinosaur skeleton construction kits, and she blew up all the pieces through a projector to be 4 times the size, and she traced them all out on plywood.
And she cut them all out with a table saw, and the Christmas dinosaur was born. This is Perry, the Parasaurolophus. I do wish that my parents had explained to me before the holiday season rolled around my kindergarten year that I was probably going to be the only kid with a Christmas dinosaur.
Hello, the cost of living's gone to shite. I can barely afford to be fat anymore. This is me giving out about the price of things again. A lot of people enjoyed this last time, and I love whinging about the price of stuff, so everybody wins. So if you like Chicago Town pizzas, if you enjoy the sensation of them melting through your fingers if you take more than a second to get them into the oven after taking them out of the freezer, then I'm sorry to inform you that you've had your last one because they're for the fucking elite now. They're €6. You might as well go to fucking Domino's at that rate. Even Meghan Markle thinks they're taking the piss with the notions they have with this kind of a price. There was a time, we're going to have to tell our kids about it, when the common man could buy a packet of crisps. Those days are completely over. I'm walking down the crisp aisle, I'm seeing, share bags of crisps, €2.50, €3. Astronomical price. But none have the kind of notions these fuckers have to be charging €4 for a packet of crisps. And look, I know electricity's gone mad, dear. I know it's not cheap making bags. But this is a chopped up potato with a bit of salt on it. Calm the fuck down. So I'll give you a scenario, right? It's Christmas time. You want a small little tiny cake that only gives you the taste of a cake and wouldn't feed fucking anyone. Oh, I can't go to the bakery, I haven't got time. I better run into Tesco. Surely I'll get something for a reasonable price in there. So you come upon this tiny little cake and you kind of think, oh, that's not too bad now, I'll buy that. How much is that? How much did you guess it is? You might say, maybe it's at the astronomical price of, say, €12 or something crazy. No, it's fucking €25 for this little taste of a fucking cake. But of course, Tesco are absolute martyrs. They're not going to have you pay a price like €25. They're like, no, we're customer focused. Fuck that. If you've got the club card, then we're going to give you a reasonable price on that. You can pay 20 fucking euro for this tiny little fucking cake. Now look, I know you've made bits of chocolate on top of it into the shape of a house. Calm the fuck down. €25 like. Follow me there as well, I'm delicious.
99% of what comes out of your butt when you fart is completely odorless. It's the 1% that causes the trouble. Primarily hydrogen sulfide. Hydrogen sulfide exists in a typical fart at a maximum concentration of about 1 part per million. And you might be thinking, well, the more I can get into my farts, the worse they'll smell. Yeah, that's true, but only to a point. I call it the fart limit. According to OSHA, if your farts were 30 times stronger, they wouldn't even smell like farts anymore. They would smell sweet. Sickeningly sweet, but still. And if your farts were 100 times stronger, they would smell like nothing. Anyone who got a direct whiff would experience immediate olfactory paralysis. By the way, it may not be medically possible, but in theory, a fart could literally be silent but deadly.
MashaAllah, Sister Minnie. She did not attacking me for the entire prayer. Now come, my sister, come. We can do cuddles and we can be good Muslim now. Maybe even, oh my God, crazy Iblis. We must reciting on her. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Look at that face. You cannot erase. The garlic breath, it did critical damage. Even Iblis, he smell and he run like hell.
Why do kids say they verse each other? Like, we're gonna verse the yellow team. There's a blend of two processes in effect here. First, this word is undergoing folk etymology. This is when we take an unfamiliar word and we reinterpret it so it makes more sense. The Algonquin word ochek was reanalyzed to become the completely meaningless but more English-sounding compound word woodchuck. The word female came into English as femelle and over time was misinterpreted as the linguistic relative of its counterpart male. Male and female are not etymologically related. So a child hears the unfamiliar word versus and thinks it's a verb because that makes more sense. The blue team versus the yellow team. They hear a complete sentence there. The same as if we said the blue team plays the yellow team. Then the second process comes in, back formation. This is when we make new words by cutting off parts of longer words that we assume are prefixes or suffixes even if they're not. Like the vegetable pea used to be peas, but that sounds plural, so we cut off the end to create the singular. Or like P.G. Wodehouse creating gruntled from disgruntled. Children know instinctively that verbs have to agree with their subjects. So if this team versus that team and we're on the team, then we verse. She verses, you verse. He verses, they verse. Kids cut the imagined suffix s off the word versus, magically creating a whole new root word. Incredible! Yes, the word's based on a misunderstanding, but that doesn't make it incorrect. No more than bridegroom, edit, emote, or diagnose are incorrect. All words made with these processes. It all depends on whether verse sticks around. In the meantime, I would not correct a kid who says it, or an adult for that matter. It's too interesting to treat it like an error. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you disagree, verse me in the comments. Come along if you feel like it.
Russia long ago. He was big and strong, in his eyes a flaming glow. Most people look at him with terror and with fear. But to Moscow chicks, he was such a lovely dear. He could preach the Bible like a preacher, full of ecstasy and fire. But he also was the kind of teacher women would desire. Rasputin, lover of
So today I want to show you my Garfield Black Clock. So one of the most famous pieces of cat merchandise to ever exist is the Kit Kat clock shaped like a cat, which used to be very common in kitchens and pops up all the time in movies and TV shows and that sort of thing. You can still actually buy these clocks fresh out of the factory on Amazon or, in museum gift shops and that kind of thing. Because of this, it should be no surprise that in the 1980s, when Garfield became the most heavily merchandised cat in the history of pop culture, he also got a clock of his own, which was very similar in design. Now, I have personally never owned a Garfield wall clock until today, because I bought this on the internet because it is a very unique version of the Garfield wall clock that I was immediately attracted to. Because, as you're about to see, this version of the clock is printed entirely in black. So this was in Ukraine, and I had it imported, and it is just fascinating to me because it is a Garfield clock from the 1980s, but with inverted colors, so it's black with orange details instead of orange with black details. Now, I have several theories about why it's like this. Number one is it might be a bootleg. It could be a bootleg, but I actually think in person it's a little too legitimate looking to be, just a copy mold of an actual Garfield clock. So my theory is some company overseas got the rights to make a Garfield clock, but maybe Garfield wasn't quite popular there yet, so they released it in the black color scheme to match with the more iconic Americana of a black cat clock in the kitchen. Now my plan is I'm going to hang my Garfield black clock on my wall for everybody to see.
Hello, and welcome to this episode of Frankie's Cultural Observations. Today we're going to be deconstructing construction workers. Here we see construction workers in their natural habitat, being 2.8 times louder than the average human before the hours of 10 AM. If you have construction workers in your house, they'll drink all your tea and they'll play 90s dance tracks on a transistor radio that has paint on it for some reason. Most of these construction workers will eventually leave, but some will stay in your house so long that you'll leave yourself, at which point they'll colonise the space and turn into the furniture, really loud furniture that smokes amber leaf. Amber leaf! Construction workers are a highly industrious species. They often work for 18 hours a day, but 14 of these hours are spent watching funny TikTok videos and eating sandwiches with their mouths open. Construction workers can often be found wearing high-vis jackets even though they work in the daytime, rendering their jackets utterly pointless. Not many people know this, but construction workers sleep with their high-vis jackets on because they love the way it makes them glow in the dark. Construction workers are highly sexual beings, existing at the pinnacle of female attraction. The high-vis hand tattoo combo has caused higher levels of moist than the damp in your granny's council flat, which construction workers can fix, by the way. Oh no, wait, is that plumbers? Construction workers engage in a social ritual known as banter. Banter is an acceptable form of psychological torture in which the construction workers engage in until one of them backs down. Please note, if you do decide to take part in banter, make sure that you don't start crying, because if you cry, you're no longer a construction worker. You're just a sensitive soul in a high-vis jacket who's out of his depth.
Okay, today I'm going to show you what happens when you run 120 volts at 60 Hertz through a dill pickle. Okay, here I have two galvanized nails. They are not coated in an insulator. They conduct freely. And here I have a power cord. And then here I have a jar of dill pickles. Okay, now I will open the pickles. Now I will get one of the pickles. Now I will get another pickle because I ate the first one because I was hungry. Okay, to this pickle, I'm going to put one galvanized nail in this way, and then the other one will go in this way. Okay, now I'm going to connect the ends of these wires to each nail. Okay, it is connected. Now we'll plug it in. Okay, here we go.
Hello, 'tis myself, giving out about the price of things again. So, you're seeing a price here, you're seeing the price is $6.75. You can get it for £6 with the club card, but $6.75 is the price. What do you think that's the price of now? You're sitting down, you're scratching your chin, you're going, I don't know, is that the price for somebody to come out to the house to me, cook me a full meal, clean my kitchen, rub me temples to calm me down? No, it's the price of a few fucking chicken dippers. Do you know what? I can't wait for the full cultural effects of inflation to kick in. You know those ads that come up on YouTube where they're like, take my free course and you can learn to make $10,000 an hour selling this cup on Amazon. They used to show like footage of like different fellas driving around in Lamborghinis and like 80 women in the car with them, like to show off the lifestyle enhancements you can have. Soon it's just going to be a load of shots of fellas eating chicken dippers and fish fingers and fucking wedges. Ah, Keelings. Love to grow blueberries. I'd fucking well love to grow them too if I was selling them for €6 for about 3 of them. Now, in fairness, I know it's not necessarily down to Keelings that the prices go up so much. It's down to supermarkets and the price of the electricity and haulage prices go up and all that sort of thing. But at the rate things are going with the price of fruit, women are going to be on Tinder now scrolling through and all they're going to see is shots of lads' fruit bowls. I have a bit of a pet peeve, right, with this. When they make these kind of like sweet treat cereals, you know, they put a bit of chocolate and something and they put it in a fucking tiny box. Serves 12 as well, like, you're having a fucking laugh. Like, you literally have one bowl of this. Maybe there's 11 sniffs of the smell left in it, but that's about fucking it. But like, why do they put it in this tiny box? It's as if they think we're stupid enough to look at the small box and go, oh, this is a premium cereal because they can only give us a small bit of it because it's too dear to put it in a bigger box. But it literally costs exactly the same amount as it costs to make fucking Tesco cornflakes to make these. But have a guess at what they have the fucking audacity to charge for these. I bet you won't fucking guess. Now let me tell you what these are. Bit of fucking wheat, right, with a fucking skid mark of chocolate within it that you can't even taste. What do you think they're charging you for that? Oh, only fucking $4.30. It's absolutely absurd that they think people are going to pay fucking $4.30 for this. Also, if you genuinely get 12 servings out of that, if you've bought this and it takes you 12 bowls to eat this, I genuinely want to see the size of your shites. Follow me, I'm delicious.
Morning chores in cold weather look a little bit different. First, I have to giggle at Saber sitting on a log, throw a couple logs on the coals and heat up the stove, and no, the bottom of the stove isn't hot enough to get burned on. Going to bring in the cat's water from last night, which is now frozen solid, and get them some fresh water. Then I'll go out to the ducks and pour some hot water over the ice, leaving them with warm water. Make sure they have extra food and bring in some frozen cat food cans. Don't worry, Minion, your breakfast is coming soon. Going to fill 2 buckets with hot water and take them down to my little room that has the water pump and pressure tank in it. I checked a couple hours later and this room was 45 degrees, so everything should be fully thawed out in there. It's only a 4 foot by 4 foot room. I'm going to heat the water from the buckets that were in there yesterday. A few months ago, Steve sent me some ice melt with no salts or chloride called Ready Go. He owns the company and wanted me to test it out, so this is a great day to do so. By now the cat food is warm and I think they both appreciate a hot breakfast in the morning. I know I like hot food on a cold day, so I figure the cats would appreciate the same. Then I'm going to fill a jar with warm water and put it in the refrigerator to keep everything from freezing solid in there. It's a sunny day, I should get plenty of electricity. My camper windows are still iced up, but it's warm in there. Then it's time to make coffee and feed Minion some breakfast. Fresh espresso beans and steamed milk make a latte. And I forgot to film Minion eating. That's good.